Okay, so here we are at part 2, and this is going to be how to actually use the BCF in combination with sonar. So what I want to go over are the various different modes that you're going to use. That'll be the first thing here, and those are up here in the upper right-hand side. Remember again that we had shift buttons up here. Knowing the combinations of these shift buttons and the different buttons across the top and the different buttons that run down the side is going to be very important for you to figure out the best way for you to use the device. What I'm going to show you is the way that I use it. There's a lot of things I don't use about it. I don't automate my synths or effects with it. There's some of the modes that I don't use on it, like send mode and whatnot. So I'm going to kind of go over the primary uses that I've gotten out of it as sort of a good starter point anyway, if nothing else, for you to get to the place where it can be comfortable for you. So anyway, at the start, the 4 mode buttons, each one of these buttons can possibly trigger multiple different modes by pressing it a couple of different times. You'll always know what mode you're in by looking up here at the LCD. So if I use this upper right mode, I'm going to be in what's TR, and you'll see it's TR dot. If I hit it again, it's just TR. These are 2 different track modes. One of them, this mode, is volume and pan, volume for channel 2 and pan, volume for channel 3 and pan. If you hit track again, what you get is volume and then the rest of the channel strip. So you get your pan and your various different parameters as you go up channel 1. As you move over to channel 2, these will reflect the channel parameters of channel 2. And that would be for your different send levels or whatever different things are there. Over here at the bottom, this is your send mode. This controls your different sends for the channels that you've got. This down here is pan mode. This is the mode I use most often. Honestly, I'm not real sure what the difference is between pan mode and the first track mode. Pan mode does definitely remember what you're doing in this mode when you come back to it, as also does the EQ mode, which I'll show you in a second. In pan mode, like I said, it's like the first track mode. So you've got the volume for each channel, the pan for each channel, and then your mute and solo and whatnot on these different buttons. Let's see. The right hand upper left hand button is the EQ. In EQ mode, there's actually 3 different modes. There's 1, 2, and 3. This is 3. That's 1. That's 2. All right, and you can see the whole thing changes. The mode that I use the most frequently is mode 3. I'll show you why in just a moment. And we're going to go back over into pan mode. Over here on the lower right-hand side, these buttons to the right control a couple of different things. One controls the grouping. It was great, my light just exploded. One of them controls the groups and where those different groups point. So, for example, right now, my channel 1 here on the Behringer is controlling channel 13 here in sonar. And you can see that here in the red strip on the right. Mackie Control 1 refers to this channel 1. This can be moved around either in groups, where you move the entire bank of 8 channels over to in bank groups, or you can move them channel by channel. So I'm just going to open up a couple of channels here so you can see what I'm talking about. First of all, first tip, and this is really the easiest way to maneuver it, is over here on the right, on the left-hand side, in the same location where you'll see that strip showing you the indicator, the where am I. If you right-click, you can choose to move Mackie Control 1 to that location. So channel 1 is going to move here. And so now we have channel 1 controlling track 1, which is the lead vocal. If we want to move forward and control channels 9 through 16 instead of 1 through 8, what we use is this bank button over here, and this is bank left and bank right. We bank right, we go to tracks 9 through 16. Bank left, we go back to 1 through 8. If you want to move one channel at a time, so let's say, for example, you wanted to control 7 through, eight, the next 8 channels after 7 through 15, which is, in my case, how my drums are set up. I can either move my Mackie 1 here, or I can hold the upper shift key and then press the bank right, and you'll see I move a channel at a time. And so now track 1 is my kick drum here. And you'll see as I move that slider on the kick channel, the channel is selected, and the snare is selected, the kick is selected, etc. So that's your moving back and forth and your placement with the Where Am I place. Down here in the lower right, you've got your transport controls. Basically, you've got forward and reverse here. The longer you hold them, the faster they move, so you can do like that. Shift and one of these guys will take you back to the beginning of your track. I'll do a rewind, like a W. You've also got your stop and play. It's nice kind of the way they've got this set up here, because one of them is set up so that you hit it once and it starts to play, and you hit it again and it stops and goes back to where it started. The other one is set, if I hit this first one once to play, if I hit the other one, it stops in place. So that's kind of the, the pause argument we'll have had. I know it doesn't do anything for the now time, but it kind of at least gives you both options with a single click and not having to think about control spacebar and stuff. Your record enable and your mute and your solo are on these buttons here up at the top of each channel. This is the select button. So right now we're selected on the channel 1, which I'm going to move down here. Right, so we're selected on channel 1. I'm going to mute channel 1 with the top button. I'm going to hold shift and use the bottom button, and that will disable record or enable it. Top 1 will do solo. It seems at first it might be kind of a pain to do this. It's nice for doing things like, I've got my shift button held and I want to record enable, 3 channels like this, or record disable a bunch of channels. It's quicker than it is with a mouse. Same thing with, if you want to mute a number of things at once, you can kind of just lay your hands across here and, hit mute, and, away they go or come back. So it's a pretty quick operation to be able to, mute and unmute combinations of tracks and in rhythms or whatever. So that gets us through that piece of things. So we've got the volume here. You'll notice on my rhythm channel, my volume is controlling the volume there, and vice versa. If I take this control and sonar and move it, you'll see my slider over here in the video window is moving up and down on its own as well. Same goes for the pan up here at the top. Move to the right, move to the left. If you click on this pan knob, it'll immediately center that pan from wherever it happens to be. So that's kind of a handy little trick to have. Now let's talk about this EQ mode I was telling you about before. Going to go into the Sonitis EQ, and I'm going to enable the first 4 bands. And I'm going to go into that EQ mode, upper left button. Again, note the fact that all these sliders have moved around. The reason they've moved is we are now in control of the gain of the 4 enabled bands and also the frequency of the 4 enabled bands. So if, for example, I want to change the frequency of band 1, I just move band 1's knob and we get control of that. If I want to change the gain of band 1, then I grab slider 1 and move it up and down. And it's pretty intuitive to be able to, for example, sweep a frequency. If I came across, band 3 like this and raised it up and I wanted to sweep it, I can just, easily do that and, do the same kind of thing, bringing it up or down. Pretty easy to create a wah type effect like this. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can also do multiple parameters and multiple channels at once. So, say, for example, I've got, like this, a slope like this, and I want to change that at the same time as I'm sweeping a band on 2, I can bring that in and sweep the band on 2 at the same time back and forth and do these different kinds of controls that, without this really wouldn't be, possible with a mouse. I mean, you could do it, but it would take multiple iterations of going over and over the track. If for no other reason, this is a valuable tool because you can kind of close your eyes and move the frequencies around to get what you want to hear instead of letting your eyes, be in control of what you're hearing. So that's that EQ mode. I'm going to switch back over here to pan mode, and we're going to do a real quick automation. To automate something, I'm going to go here. Again, we're on track 1. We're going to do a simple volume change. And to do that, we're going to right enable that track like this. And then we're going to hit play, and I'm going to move my slider. And that's all there is to it. Hopefully it'll work better than the last time I tried to record this. Hit play, and I'm moving my slider, and down it goes. And you can see that it's actually recording that. And you can hear the difference in the volume as well as I move that slider around. And then we just go ahead and stop. And now you'll see that this has created, the curve for you, the automation curve. And if you right-click on that, you can see that it is assigned to. You'll have to take my word for it. It is assigned to volume. And as we go back over this on the timeline, you can see my slider jumping around here. If you roll back and forth on that, you can actually see that happen. And when I hit play, you'll see it actually play those slider moves back as well. And so, of course, you can do the same things with pans. You could also, take these, particular envelopes and assign them to other things like, the gain on a track EQ or to an effect control within your delay or a reverb or whatever. So anyway, that is about it. That should wrap it up. I hope that this has answered some questions for some people who happen to watch this. People on the Sonar forums get something out of this video to help them use their BCF or understand whether or not they want to get one. I'm Blades. I hope this has been a helpful video.